right, Mr. Roach. It's on you.
Okay, administrative, is that where we are?
Yes, A.
School nurse mentor approval, and this is, we hired a school nurse. The state has a recommendation or a position where you can hire a mentor for 20 days to help. And we are asking the board to hire Pam Dice to help mentor this nurse, and it's for 20 days.
So this is a new job and a new job description. Is that correct? Have we ever had a school nurse before?
From what I gathered, I'm not sure we ever had the position ever by the state for this position to occur to mentor nurses. In other words, the state has recognized bringing in nurses off the street, meaning from the private sector, to come into the public sector. It's my understanding that they have addressed that by saying and recognizing there is a need for a mentor. And that's all I can tell you, because I'm not that familiar, except that's the recommendation.
I have a question.
Yes.
This will be paid out of county funds,
I would assume, yes, sir.
because it doesn't have that on there.
Yes, sir. I would assume that would be out of county funds.
Okay, and we're looking at 20 days,
20 days.
and do we have a particular rate that we're going to pay that person?
I'm not sure. I am not sure. It's either be her rate that she had or the nurse's rate. Normally, and I'm saying this off, not to be taken to the bank, but normally when we hire someone like this as a mentor, we, as a principal, you know, mentoring someone, we usually pay them the going rate. And the lady that can answer this, Miss Lucas, Pam Dice, the rate of pay for Pam Dice as a mentor, would it be, how would that be determined?
I think it's daily rate.
Her daily rate is when she retired.
Yes.
Okay, and I have one other question. This is going to be for the remainder of the school year, basically, so this is not going to be like a continuing.
20 days.
20 days.
That's it.
Consecutive days or?
No, I don't, I would say not, based on what the needs are.
20 days for each new nurse that we get. Is that correct?
Yes.
20 days throughout the year for each new nurse?
Yes,
we
not
get.
to, not to exceed 20.
Okay, I'm just,
Yes.
And this is a recommendation, if I'm assuming or call it that, by the state for hiring kind of private sector or new nurses,
Yes, they do.
that they recommend us to do this.
Yes, they do.
Do you have a question?
But I'm- Yes,
I was
I
looking
have
at
a
that.
quizzical.
Yeah.
But this is approval to post the position, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we don't, no one's applied yet.
I was a retired,
Well, I may have an interest.
yes.
Whomever it is, it would be their
Right.
daily rate.
Okay.
Okay, and we, how many new nurses do we have? Because this is 20 days, we have one. All right. That's all I'm good. I have
Okay, B, a contract with School Management Solutions. As you can see, to have the grant, this Roger Miller goes along with it. In other words, they're right with the grant. You get the grant, you get Mr. Miller. That's the way it is. We have no choice in this situation. But it is, as you can see, paid by the state and supported school.
Safe and good for the schools.
I move to accept the administrative design.
We have a second. Is there any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Let's go to our personnel schedule. Ms. Lucas.
We have a list of professionals to be terminated June 30th, 2011. No one requested a hearing. In termination of service personnel, and then resignations and retirements.
Is there any questions on the personnel schedule?
I second.
Motion's been made to accept the personnel schedule. Is there any questions on the motion? Second. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? And motion carries. So let's go to board concerns and comments, and I'll go ahead and start off. I sent everyone kind of a mock example of the extracurricular, kind of like a proposed pay schedule. And of course, I actually got in contact with Mr. Roach. Basically what I was proposing was for us to kind of go back to this particular schedule, because this is what we used to do. I think we used to pay days at a daily rate. I think we're all familiar with that. But it's been, after talking with Mr. Roach and Mr. Roach digging basically legally, I don't think that we're going to be able to look at that or actually change that schedule the way it is. So what I'm doing is I'm basically handing it off to Mr. Roach. He and his curriculum team, or whoever that he converses with, probably change it. How about? But they can look at the schedule. I think that everyone was basically in agreement that we probably should do something to try to regulate some of or actually make some of the salaries comparable with the duties that they do.
Well, I don't know, but frankly, I
I'll-
unless we get into a deep study of it, I'm not sure, okay? I mean, I couldn't say that.
Well, I was talking about the current pay schedule for
Well-
the coaches. You had never looked at it?
No, I hadn't studied.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I don't think that right now I have enough knowledge to say whether I want to change it or not.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, here's the thing.
To be
What-
fair about it.
To be
I mean-
fair about it, we can't change it, is what
well,
I'm
that's
saying.
right, we can't now.
Right.
You can't cut anyone's salary.
I know.
No,
Doing
no.
that contract.
And that's where we're at. You know, we can't change the salary, even though we don't know whether we're cutting anybody's pay or we're increasing anybody's pay, because we're going from a daily rate. So I'll pass that off to Mr. Roach, and if there's anything that we can do in the future, then we will try to do that. But that's where I was at. Okay, so I don't have any more concerns. I don't think you understood that.
Talk to you, can understand.
What you said, anyway.
I have, just, if you don't care, I'm always asking to update some things, so I'm gonna ask you again about the Department of Transportation grant. I know it was brought to your attention lately about some of the money in it, and I just wondered where we are on that, trying to extend the sidewalks as a safety issue and handicap issue. So, I mean, things get lost, go on, and, you know, we leave things behind, and I sort of forget about it for a while, so.
I think it's
do I.
good that you brought that up.
Yes, I can. I know there was an article in the Lincoln Journal concerning the money about the $100,000 that committed by the county commission to join our $100,000 for the stadium or football facilities. And having looked at it, what occurred, and I'm going to give a little brief. I have a letter that you all probably remember discussing back in November the 5th or probably late October. And what it amounted to is we sent a letter to Jeff Harpo, and that was the coordinator of the enhancement grant. And we asked him about the steps, and he's having what would be called a change of scope or change in scope. That was granted. And also, the letter is just simply asking, said, please keep us informed of when our matching funds of $20,000 is due, and any documentation or contracts need to be signed. This was sent November the 5th. We have not heard anything from Jeff Harpo, and I don't think he comes back to work sometime in February. And also, at that time, I know that I had spoken with, went up to see Commissioner McCann, And we discussed it at that time. He was sharing with me, he was going to recommend that they withdraw the 20,000 and that they were going to write a letter. And I think same things happens with them, but my understanding is that the letter was written yesterday or was being today, it was sent out, a process today to ask for that 20,000 back. So it is my understanding that they would get that 20,000 back, and they would add that to the 80 to complete the 100 of what they have committed. We would then, for this grant to go, or for the walkway down to the field, we would commit $20,000 of our money. If I recall with the board, that was discussed at the time, and we agreed to do that. So things should shape up here, and I know there was a little confusion about it, and I was a little confused too, so went back and checked the files and anticipated a question tonight about that, so that's where we are.
So the commission is now chasing the 20,000.
It has to,
Okay.
because they committed to 20,000.
So I was told otherwise last week.
Well, I think maybe, just by mistake, I think if you go tomorrow and talk to Judy, that might have changed. Again, I put Dana on it to make sure of where we were on that. And Dana informed me about the letter being sent out yesterday or today. So please talk to Dana as the person who has that knowledge. So hopefully that's cleared up. We're still waiting. And I think, being November, we didn't have any great chance of being done over the winter. So I believe all along we would wait to the spring to do it, to get things started anyway. So hopefully that brings you all up to date, including us.
I have something else I'd like to say. We've had a lot of snow, and I've noticed that people going by Duval, going by Lincoln County, our people have done a great job of moving the snow to get everything on track. I mean, I've noticed that I think it's a lot.
And
I think that you would concur with that.
Yes, and clarify things, they do a super job, custodians on our walks and most of that, but we do sub out for the major snow removal off the parking lots, and that's our community folks doing that, my understanding, we appreciate them for doing it. So, thank you, and
They've done a great job.
I'll pass it along to our folks.
Carol, do you have anything to say?
No, I'm quiet this time.
Well, we hope everything is working out your way, Carol.
I'm doing great. The doctor was real pleased, and I take the monitor off tomorrow, and
Great.
hopefully if the roads aren't too bad, I get to head home pretty soon.
Also, Ms. Smith, just share this with you. This was a card that, if you recall, you all gave me permission to allow Mr. Kirk King and West Hamlin to bring in that guest speaker before we could get the contract and meet with the board. You recall that?
Yes, I do.
Well, he sent a little thank you, and I'll read it. Thank you all very much for approving the professional development session for West Hamlin. This session was difficult to schedule, but was very worthwhile. It was very practical and applicable, and the staff gained valuable information. Thank you for your support, Kirk King. Just wanted you to know that.
It is
He sent that to the board members.
very professional. Hey, go ahead, Steve.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
Are we going to have on the February 7th agenda authorization to post the superintendent's position?
It's February 14th to March 7th. But you, on February, I thought we didn't do that before.
I don't know that we have ever acted to
Okay, well,
ask that be done yet.
we'll check, and if not, it'll be on the agenda.
Something else I forgot, I need to tell you all, is, I got an email from, name just left me. I talked to the guy, Howard Cole, Dr. Cole. He told, in the email, he said that if we wanted to advertise, that they would run it for free. They would advertise for us for free. I'll carbon copy the letter to all of you all, so you can see that. And if you all,
I've already sent it to the newspapers, and I've already done a purchase order to the Huntington paper, the Charleston paper, and the Lincoln Journal. I've already done a purchase order for all of those. It's going to run 4 times in each newspaper.
Which paper is it?
Lincoln Journal, Herald Dispatch, and the Charleston Gazette. And it's
Yeah.
pretty expensive. Can't imagine you would do that for free.
Well, I'll read the email to you.
It's $700 and some dollars for the Herald Dispatch, and
They advertise
500 and
normally
something.
to all superintendents, all counties, all through emails.
Now, I've got a mailing ready to go in the mail to all 55 counties.
They do that online.
Is he saying that,
Well, yeah.
They can do it through there.
Like, we're gonna run it in the magazine.
but I mean, not, that wouldn't necessarily conflict.
No, that's not going to conflict, I
So
mean,
we
we
can
can
do
do the
both.
same thing, and it's not gonna cost us any money. It's something to-
It's additional
This
difference,
is in addition to what you're.
Yeah.
not the same papers like magazine, you know, they're, how they do it. We're gonna keep
Yeah,
it what you did.
We're gonna
What
definitely
we
do, yeah,
did.
what we did, what you did.
Dr. O'Cole's not saying that they're gonna pay to put it in the Gazette.
No, they're not gonna pay to put it, but they're gonna, I think,
They're
advertise
doing
through their
that.
magazines, their different.
Emails.
Emails, different things like that. But he said they're doing that for Roane County, and they're offering that, so he's kinda extending his hand.
And we'll
And saying-
graciously accept.
And I wanted to talk to him before I called him.
Okay.
But we will clarify that we authorized this to be done. I don't recall.
Well, February 7th, I'll make sure it's on there.
If we have
If
it.
we
I
have
knew it
it.
started the 14th, that's why I didn't recall. I thought maybe it was gonna be on the.
And I also would ask that, instead of you calling him, that you would ask Brenda so that the information be consistent.
Well, I'll just have him get in contact with her.
Okay.
Just say, listen, call Brenda, she's the one that does it.
Which
That
I was
way-
gonna send you that notice of vacancy.
Right.
Right.
But I will ask, or you,
Well, I'm gonna have,
you'll
I'll just have
email
him
me
call
or call me
you.
or something.
Because, I mean, that way you all can get things moving. Go ahead, Steve.
Could we also, on February 7th, have an executive session discussion on the Hart School property?
Yep.
And if at all possible, Mr. Page could attend. Is that possible? That's an add, I just thought of that.
Maybe,
not.
maybe if I may make a suggestion to the board,
February 2nd.
why not a phone conference call versus bringing him all the way down here?
Well,
What's their
Be cheaper.
okay, I don't even know that, you know, I'll just withdraw any thoughts, Mr. Page. But just for us to discuss it,
Yes.
and then we'll decide if we want to talk to him later.
I'll have him possibly just to be, if he'd be at his home, we can contact him, would that be okay, if needed?
If needed, once again, I
You
just,
may have some questions.
Yes.
that was just an add-on, but I think we need to kind of see what
That'll be done.
So does anybody, do we have anything for you? Good? All right.
I'm good.
All right, so if there's no more questions, then what we will do is we will adjourn this meeting. How about that? Right. We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
A second.
Okay, so a motion's been made. Is there any questions? All right, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.